So we've been talking about families who are a good fit for PCIT, families where we're going to see some changes, most likely. We can never make promises in therapy. I should clarify that, right? I can't guarantee anything for anybody. I can just tell you about what I have seen after 300, 400, 500 families through this modality. But I can also tell you the kinds of families that don't benefit as much from PCIT. So families where there is so much going on that they can't come to sessions regularly. That is really hard for PCIT because you're trying to learn some new skills. So if you're at a point where you're like, my schedule is such a mess, I can't commit to this at least an every other week basis. I mean, weekly is ideal, but you have to be able to come at least every other week. If this is not the right time, wait until you can be here more consistently. That will be really helpful for PCIT. You also have to be willing to practice. You don't have to practice for huge amounts of time, but you need to practice every single day for around 5 minutes, or at least most days. So if things are so hectic that you don't have time to do any of that practice, this is not going to be the right treatment, because what we're working on is helping you make changes that help your child thrive. And if you don't have the time to put those into action, it's really hard to be successful in PCIT. It's also not very helpful if you have a child who is too old for the treatment. So the fit is a really important thing. You know, I've maybe seen one child ever within the right age range that just hated it. Now that's 1 out of hundreds. So most kids are really into this, but every now and then there's just one child who is just not into this. And so it's just important to be aware of that. And also children who have a diagnosis of PDA do not do well in our discipline part of the treatment. It triggers them. So if your child has a diagnosis of PDA, we will not do the second part of the treatment with you for sure, because it's just not appropriate. It won't benefit your family. But for most kids, it's completely fine. But that's a situation where kids do not really thrive in PCIT. Also, PCIT requires a lot of parent involvement. In an ideal world, every parent in the family is involved in PCIT. We also live in the real world, so as long as one caregiver is consistent, that works, as long as other caregivers aren't totally against what's going on. Does that make sense? So you have to be in an environment where one person is allowed and able to be really consistent with the treatment. Yeah, so it's important to know. It's important to know who this is good for and who this is not good for, because we want you to be in the right place for you and your family. And that is the most important thing to me and to every clinician at PCIT Experts.